Welcome to our Devos, and this week we are continuing on with our series Homewreckers, and we're looking at this idea of controlling conflict. I never say avoiding conflict. I don't think avoiding conflict is healthy, but there has to be some controls that we put around our conflict with the relationships in our lives that matter most, and specifically a lot of what I'm going to be talking about focuses on dating, marriage relationships, specifically marriage relationships in this context, but it really can be applied to a lot of conflict. So feel free to use this and adapt it as you think about your own relationships. But when it comes to conflict, there's some things that we have to understand. Now, some of us, we're pro-conflict. Like, we're ready to hit the ground running and confront and tell people exactly what's going on in our hearts, exactly how we feel about a thing, and that's all well and good. However, before you start a conflict, you have to realize that the best way to begin to start to have a difficult conversation is talk to listen. Talk to listen. This is not meaning that you talk to get your point across and to prove who is right. It's about talking with the intention of coming to understanding. Most of us, we don't approach conflict like this. The way that we approach conflict is by way of just saying, okay, I got all my evidence ready. I'm ready to hit the ground when it comes to all that I can say, make my case, prove my points, put that person in their place, and I will win. Well, in a conflict where there are people that love one another, as I mentioned over the weekend, there are only two winners or there are two losers. And so if you love the person that you're having a conflict with, you should be seeking to talk to them in order to listen and hear what it is that's going on that caused this conflict, or what the misunderstanding may be. James says in chapter 1, verse 19, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." So what does talking to listen look like? Well, simply put, don't talk at someone. So you don't go into a tirade on your spouse or on your child. If you have an adult child, if you have a young child, you can do it because they're usually, when you're confronting them, you're trying to correct a behavior. But if you're in a discussion, you don't talk at them. You don't talk down to them. A lot of times in a conflict, we talk down to one another. Oh, look at you. Yeah, you're really good at doing this. And we use sarcasm. I'm guilty of this at times. Sarcastic conversation is not healthy. And I've done that many times with my wife, and she unfortunately calls me on it every time. So I get uncomfortable when I do it, so I should stop doing it. But, those old habits, and, it's something that I struggle with. But that sarcasm, we have to watch that. So don't talk down to someone, but instead talk with them in hopes that you can understand how to resolve the conflict. So the way you approach the conversation, the way that you approach the conflict, oftentimes is what determines how the conflict will go.